will hear you. You will lay a desire. Then I'd wear that power. I say, oh, we are right. I'm about to you. I'm a part of my trade. Well, we'll learn it goes away. Alas, I go that you are not. We say you. Papa Mora, get me up with anywhere. Mamba Sibole. La rangée famille nationale, c'est trop fort. Puis après, on va essayer de sauver des gros gars. Moi, ça il faut. Pas pour mon yao. Papa n'y guida, petit, blague façonné. Kaidaka, ben n'a pas pour ça, bobo, ma beau panjago. Un peu bleu à café, ou un peu d'agneau café. Puis apportez-moi, moi, n'y a pas que du client. N'y a c'est moi. But that's your way at being on your own. And more, that's it to come. With this, I'm okay, where they have been. Who won't ya? I cannot salute it. But you will get that your way at being on your own. And more, that's it to come. Na pwesi yezo akoke, wede yeble. Oh ya kanike. Na konkete nyambe wewe. Na nyonsa amfeble ane. Eyajo, ole yajo, sadu woja. Yesu abete waka. Bayo bokadia. Ayu ene o. Tai bobo daji anu ala wize yibo ba. Àwọn te yo pe mala ni debo anu e o. Anje. Yes, I'm going to buy them with Mwege. Imo, am I gay? One of what I guess me, I'm done. And in the boy, oh, say, what that Giano and I will say you. So I get them for Benyon, never yet never went. Let Tony and Rayo. And you, oh, but just say, oh, yeah, I'm not walking ever. Kaidaka, when you bust your jacob, let you know halfway. I just see how this is what I say. Saibo, yeah, you like to write them on by one name on tell it to say it by Potamu, Lanwada. Planning Papa, Renegade, Baka on Lage, the Pussy, LPR. Don't yes, you don't know Anya. Don't say Bob was a dressy. Mambo, Balibo, Dakiano, and I will say you over. I will let Saibo. In back to a black to say. I just want to lay a back to an hour to see you okay. Wait, go, Saibo. On the green, I walk like a bad day noir. So to what? So the one you're nationalist and clever play. Say, Bobo, that you know, we say you over. I'm not in it. So walk away. I know Brazil, they pay Moscow. South Africa, your fault, thank you for your work and my one. I'm the poor man, don't feel it, I say, oh, Pavilion. Say, but you will play, we are coming. Say, Bobo, that you know, and I will say you over. About people, in this room. Quamus, the get what I see over life. Kabo no ase, e pose lugu lugu. Say ya re ase, maye no. Get one day ye, your family just say Monday ya now. Ariwo ase o maye, amo amora da o. Say mo de ya no na we say you. Abi so lu lo di o maye. So pe no we. Saibo, 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 ya no anda wide yide. Mo pop man down le mel, with an yo man de ferou. When you know I say, it's a mayo. That was where you saw so one go. When you Amora Shinola say. You will lay a desire. Then I'd
Good evening, folks. Samson to LIBERIA Public Radio. We're here again this evening. We're going to be having a wonderful show again this Wednesday afternoon. Want to thank all of you for tuning in. Those who's going to be coming later, we also want to thank you very much for coming in. We appreciate it. Samson to LIBERIA Public Radio. Let's go ahead and start the show. We're very late, but that's okay. I know our brothers and sisters will have a clear understanding of why we're coming late. That's fine, no big deal. We're here to have fun together. So safety, folks. The confusion about this virus in the United States just is getting louder and louder. I mean, people it getting intense, to be honest with you, because other states most likely going to be opening, while other states will say no. So I'm not too sure. Those of you that lives in the state, I'm not too sure what you're going to do. But whatever the authority. Whatever suggestion they're going to have, in whatever city you live in, if the city is resisting the state conversation or the state imposed law, watch other people. If people are going to work, if your employer say come to work, you go to work, but make sure you are protected. If your employer says stay home, you stay home, because it goes from federal to state to city and whatever. So I'm not too sure what it is that they're trying to do, but they seem to be state, now is federal pushing, state is pushing, some state are pushing, and some city within those states are trying to resist. So I'm not too sure how we're going to come down. But whatever it is, obey the law. The law of the local jurisdiction is the law. If they say do that, you say okay, don't resist. Okay, so and because and another thing, you also have to, if they call you back to work, if your employer say come back to work, you go to work. That's about that. There's nothing, no two-way street about it. But in the meantime, you have to protect yourself. Wear yourself a mask. Don't be embarrassed because there's not been a lot of tests that is going on. So you don't know who you're going to be going to work with. Who has it? You don't even know if you have it or not. So the best thing you can do is wear gloves. If possible, wear masks to make sure you don't cough in public, and other people, whether you have it or not, you don't know that. Until test is done, it's going to be difficult. And these are some of the confusion that is going on right now here in the States. So just whatever jurisdiction you live in, just obey the rule in that area. You're not living in total. You can't say, oh, you play with me, I'll go on the farm. That's not what they want. That's not town. You're not living in town. You live somewhere else. That's not town. You can't call Paramachito. You can't help you with that. So your best bet is, now you know you're not in town, just try to obey the rules. Okay? So let's leave it at that. That's the safety, and on a very serious note, this disease is not playing. It's not playing. Other people are predicting, other medical professionals are predicting that this thing might even come back in wintertime. So all of these things, all you have to do is pray. Pray, and pray for one another. Thank you, Samson to LIBERIA Public Radio. Let's go on tonight. Tonight's show, before I go on here, let me lay out something clearly here. The discussion of my show tonight, the subject matter, it's not something you can rush to. This is not subject matter that I'm coming to with blindfolded. I am quite aware of what I'm going to be talking about here tonight. The pain, what this has caused other people. The pain, what this has caused us as well. But the issue for me is that if we're going to be honest with each other as Liberians and try to bring back Liberian history, we must do so honestly. We cannot just say this part of the history suits me and therefore I must discuss that. In my case, if you do that for me, then you're being intellectually dishonest. And I don't like that. I don't like that. No one owns Liberian history. No one owns Liberian because we all lived there. Whatever happened during the war, that's part of our history. You can't say, oh, they got people that they were not part of the war, so that's not. No, everybody. It's all of us. This is Liberian history. Whatever happened on the national scene, whatever happened, that brought some, whatever it is that it brought joy, disgrace, tears into Liberians' eye, that's part of Liberian history. So if it's going to be discussed, it must be discussed honestly. And even if you don't do it within its entirety, but at least bring in some facts, bring in some underlying issues. Ask questions, serious questions. And this I'm about to do tonight. And those of you that are young, that perhaps don't understand clearly what this whole thing is about, sit tight. Respect us, as we're going to put forth some view here tonight that might be contrary to other views. And that's okay. You can disagree with me. You can disagree with me. But one thing I'm not about to do here, as I try my best to bring these things out, is not to go and relitigate, conquer, country, divide. That's not this. The only reason why I'm going to be discussing this particular issue here tonight is because our brothers and sisters have apparently seemed to, they decided they're going to inject this thing, forgetting to know that Liberia is not your Liberia of yesterday. You have Liberians everywhere that are educated, young Liberians, sophisticated. And so if you're going to talk about subject matter, why it is true that those subject matter might be mostly highly emotional charged. However, once you're going to put it out for Liberian consumption and you're going to cloud it as being Liberian history, then now and if you left out or something is missing, then you also asking other Liberians to help you straighten it up. And that is the point that I'm going to be making here tonight. Samson Toe is a very serious matter. You don't have to stay with me. I can go on here without anybody watching me. That's fine with me. Okay? But I need to do this, and I will do it. Let's start. As usual, the President of the Republic of Liberia, Dr. Weah, under whose leadership we all falls, and there's no question asked who's our leader. This is the President of the Republic of Liberia, duly elected by Liberians. And his election also part of Liberian history. We can't pass that, whether we agree or not. Duly elected, 61.5% of Liberian electorates decided this is the man they want. I don't agree with most of the things that comes out of the administration, but that does not negate the fact that he has won the election and he's my president. That is Dr. Weah. Let's go on to my main topic here tonight. Quite recently, folks, Liberian Public Radio, Samson Toe, excuse me, quite recently on Front Page Africa, as they do every year, not necessarily Front Page Africa, but as they do every year. You know, we had 1980, there was a coup. And around April 21st, 22nd, it was meaning Liberian, true loving Liberian, brothers, fathers, uncles of Liberians were held on the beach by other Liberians and were executed. Part of Liberian history. However, the relatives of these people, folks, Samson Toe, Liberian Public Radio, the relatives of this group, every year about this time, they will make statement to honor their dead, which is fine. And I respect that. I'm not quarreling with that because I do that myself. But when you do so, if it's going to be personal, then you leave it as personal. But if you're going to inject, if you're going to make it part of Liberian history, then those of us that perhaps have little knowledge of this whole incident will come out and say, why you have the right to honor your dead. Why you have the right to cry for your father, your uncles. You can do so. These are emotional issues. But then to wrap it around certain group of Liberians, as though we Liberians, other part of Liberia was so barbaric, as though other part of Liberians brought this thing on without any kinds of reasoning, then I think you're not doing yourself a service. Because then people like Samson told, while I'm not here tonight to defend the killing of my brothers and sisters, or my brothers, that's not what it is. This is not a defense. However, I must do my best to straighten the record here tonight. And I will continue to do it. Every time they do this and I read about it and something is left out, I'll fill in the gap. So let me go back to this subject matter here. The subject matter tonight, as I stated on there, here is the main thing here, main subject. Okay. I also stated in my opening, and I will say it here again, that yes, things went wildly, unbelievably tragic. This is a tragic Liberian history. This is not the kinds of history that you want to stand on top of the hill and beat your chest about it. But there are young people among us that weren't born at the time. And most of them that in leadership right now, they have no clue. How, they've been reading, but they do not have the true feeling, because some of them were not there. Some of us, we were there. We heard the gunshot. We felt it. We saw it. It was devastating. It was devastating that afternoon. Like for me, in my case, I refused to stay. And as I remember quite well, as I was leaving the barracks, going through the gate, I could hear the shots. And I felt within myself, this is somebody's father, somebody's brother. What happened? And if you were in Monrovia at that time, immediately after the incident, there was a dark cloud. I don't know what it was, but it was a dark cloud around the beach area, around the barracks area. And people believe, many Liberians at the time believed that this was a bad thing that have happened to us as Liberians. And it's something that we know very well that it's not going to end well. Okay? However, over the years, the relatives, the children, the nieces, nephews of these people, of our brothers, they every year, which they have the right to do, they memorialize their dead, they have the right to do that, and they must do that. I encourage, and I would say, even if I was in Liberia, I would do my best to be part of that program. To be part of that program, because even those who were even responsible, those who made the order, they themselves, I can attest to that they themselves were regretting the action. There's no question I was there. I know it. However, our brothers who are now paying tribute to their dead on Front Page Africa, the title is Liberia's Goats of April 22nd, 40 years later. Family of slain Turbo government official, Trump, Hope and Harmony, which we all agree. We all have no question that these people are sincere. They want peace in Liberia. And we all do. But let's read further what prompted me onto this. Okay. It went on to say 10 days after Master Sergeant Doe and his brand of military officers surprised the war with military coup d'etat. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Okay, ironically, he says, The killing, the killing aftermath has failed to solve much of Liberia's problems. Nevertheless, the families of those lost their life continue to honor the memory with an annual memorial archiving one of the painful chapters of Liberia regular history. They're making it into history, which is fine. They go down in the statement remembering the 40 years anniversary. The family said the horrific and savage image of those 13 men tied to stake was indelible etched in the mind of not only Liberian but global, making a tremendous downturn in the bloodstained history and demise economy of our beloved nation as we once know it. Let's take that little bit, that little part of it. Whose economy? Whose economy that you know? And this is the one when I read that. This is what I began. Then I said, well, wait a minute. Whose economy was it? Before 1980, who was running the show in Liberia? And if they're going to do that, in the whole issue here, and I'll point some things out. Because like I said, I know some stuff, and I'll point them out here tonight. In the whole writing, there's nothing to say, okay, let's step back a little bit. Perhaps, who knows? Nothing. They're going to tie it around a barbaric. And like I stated earlier, this is nothing to sneeze at. It's a bad feeling to have loved one killed like that. It's a bad feeling. You can't defend them. You can't talk for them. There's no serious court proceeding where you will pay a lawyer to defend them. Nothing. It was bad. I'm not here to justify anything. But when you start talking about the economy was good, whole economy, and I'll go into that. Mark that. Whose economy? Mark that. Okay? So, they want us to say, we envision a Liberia where the last 40 years have served as a lesson to all of us how difficult it is to rebuild. Understandable, no question asked. Okay? The family statement recall how on this day, 40 years ago, 13 officials of Liberian government were killed on South Beach in Monrovia, Liberia, as a result of military coup d'etat that toppled the government of President William R. Tubman Jr. on April 12, 1980. The horrific and savage image, once again, savage image, okay, tied to the stick was, okay, they went through that. Besides Tubman, his top security officer, okay, people that were killed. Here's another thing here, these people, and for me, that if you do this, then it showed to me that you're not sincere. You're not sincere. If you're going to name people that I know, if you're going to name Gabriel Moore, Captain Gabriel Moore, General Charles E. Ridley Jr., and you're unable to name Pueblo, and few other natives Liberians that were killed that night defending Tubman and the Tuwi party, and you want me to sit here and say, yes, these people are sincere? You have pictures of your 13 relatives that were killed. Charles Ridley was not killed at the South Beach. He was killed during the coup incident that night. So were Pueblo. So were a few other people that were killed, few native people that were killed behind the executive mansion as they came to defend the executive mansion. Pueblo were killed right in front of Toba, I call it living quarter, because he's a crown man, and he knew some of the crown people that were involved, but he refused to give up, to say, no, I'm not going to let anybody touch the president. This one I'm getting ready to give you, never heard it before. The only other person that can attest today, and I'm not going to call his name because he's still alive. One other person who witnessed that night, that particular incident, he's still alive. People were asked to be quiet, and he refused. So he started tussling with Wesson gun. According to the story, while tussling with Wesson gun, the gun went off because he refused for them to go any further. He was killed. His name is not being mentioned here. Why? Because his name is Pueblo. This is a man who gave his life. This is the man who gave Lieutenant Pueblo gave his life to defend Toba. He's not mentioned here. And you want me to be quiet? Far from it. Far from it. And there were other people that were there to defend. Colonel Rayleigh, when he heard the gunshots, according to the story, started running towards from behind the mansion. You know, behind the mansion, they have the mansion National Guard. And he started running, coming towards the mansion. And that's where he was killed. Pueblo was killed in the executive mansion itself. He's also buried with the rest of the group. Well known. His name is not being mentioned. His picture is not even up here. Why is that? Is it because he's from Toll Town? Was he not doing the same thing Colonel Rayleigh was doing? Why didn't you guys even go into the history a little bit and see who all got killed that night? Instead of just saying, okay, these are our people and the rest is, no, then you're not being sincere. You're not being serious. So that's just the one fact that I'm just giving you right now. And I know you guys have heard Thomas Babel's name before. That was his father. You have heard of those of us that are from the Crown community have heard Babel name last time. That was his father as well. He was killed at the executive mansion trying to defend the two-way party. His name is not on here. And every year you guys come up with this stuff. I've been waiting, hoping that you guys will try to, the family members will try to contact people. So, okay, if we're going to do that, these are all Liberians. There's no question asked. These are all Liberians. There's no question asked. If we're going to do that, let's find out who were killed. Because you're putting Rayleigh name on here. You're putting Gabriel Moore name on here. They weren't killed at the South Beach. So why aren't you going in deeper? You didn't do that. And so this is not a complete history. If you're going to do this and you want us to accept as history, then be truthful. Then go a little bit deeper. Don't just stop there. But let me go a little bit further. Like I said, I'm not here to defend the action of other Liberians executing other Liberians. This was not like a war. This was a tragedy as far as I'm concerned. But let's look a little bit deeper what these people failed to do. And if you're going to put these things up, you have young Liberians, highly educated, sophisticated. Most of them were not even born at that time. They have grown up now. They're men for themselves. They read these things, and then they start questioning themselves. Then they start questioning other Liberians. What happened? What happened? Why with 13 Liberians will be put on the pole, all because of coup, and have them executed? And then they go back. In here, they also said that with all that stuff that was done, things have not changed. Doe King, the corruption was worse, they said. Taylor King, nothing changed. Judy Bryan King, nothing changed. Ellen King, nothing changed. And even now, nothing have changed. I agree. We will get there as a group. But we cannot achieve that. What it is that you're trying for us to achieve with bringing these kinds of haphazard, I would call it, history. Why would you write something like this without going deeper than that? Let's go on. Folks, I usually don't like to talk about these things because they don't do good for our soul. They are not healthy for us emotionally. Here we are, we're worrying right now about coronavirus in Liberia. We're asking the best medical professional from Liberia to go and help our brothers and sisters. But here, they brought this up, and that's their right. That's their right. If you're not going to mention other Liberians that die in the defense of Tuwi Party, even if they're from Tow Town, then do it as a family and don't call it history. Then nobody will say nothing. But when you come up and call it history, then we're going to question, why are you leaving other brothers out? Is it because they are from Tow Town? That's my question. But let's go a little bit deeper than that, folks. Since they're going to call it history, I'll give you a little bit of mine, what I do know. Samson told LIBERIA Public Radio. If you miss this one again tonight, you're going to be missing a lot. So, according to history, most of the coup plotters were from Grand Judea County. Okay, I'll give you that. Fine. But why? Why were they even plotting to overthrow a sitting government? Were they in it for the money? Far from it. Some of them died with only $5,000 left in their account. And I would say, my brother, and how did he get that $5,000? Let me just tell you right now. During 1979 rice riot, he was asked by three or four Lebanese store owner down Waterside for him to guard the place that night, and they promised to give him $5,000 once he guard the place safety. He said fine. So he stood guard with those three or four stores all night, going up and down. The next day, time came that he asked for his money. They said, we can't pay your Liberian army. We can't. 11 people said, we can't pay you. You're Liberian army man, and you are guarding. That's your job. He couldn't go complain to. Who's going to listen to him? Who's going to listen to him? What he's going to complain to say, people asked me to come. He said, okay. He left it. And after the coup, as one of the top member of the coup, guess what he did? He collected his coup members. Most of the coup and all was involved. They went Waterside. He told his story. They went Waterside. And all of them were there. The people, all the 11 people that were involved. Hey, they counted the 5,000, put it down in your hand. He said, thank you. The other then left. They said, that's all we want. You promised somebody you don't want to pay. So he took that money and put it in his son's account. Down Waterside Bank. I'm forgetting the name of the bank. When I was getting ready to leave, the Kuomba sent me down there to get the money, and they refused to give me the money because it's a government property. Well, the Kuomba also drove down there, got me the money, and I left. That's how far I'm going to go on that one. But let's go back. So where were these people overthrowing the government of Republic of Liberia? As young as some of them were. What do they know? when you do these things, you push us a little bit, and we're gonna come back. Everything that I'm gonna be reading here, just go. Nowadays, you can't lie, because if you read something, the people will Google it. You young Liberians, they will challenge you, and I'm asking them to challenge me tonight. Go Google this. Let me read something to you. Okay. Right before the coup, Liberia was agitated, especially after the rice riot. When PA came in, I don't want to go into that type of history here tonight. I will just touch a little bit. The Progressive Alliance of Liberia, PA, headed by Gabriel Barker Matthew, organized a demonstration against the government. You know the rest of the history. But they go deeper than that in the paper that I have here. I've been doing my research. Okay? So anyway, I'm not going to go into that right now. I'll come back to it. Since there's another one here. There's another book here written by Defense College. Let me make sure that I'm not making it up. Give me 5 minutes here. U.S. Army War College. Okay. Challenge Barracks, PA. People wrote this. It's a thick book, and they wrote a lot. This was classified, and they opened it up quite recently. And I was just doing some research, and I came across that. But they called it study project. It was classified, but it's no longer classified. Okay, and there's a lot in here. A lot. Things that I didn't even know. A lot. But I will deal with that. It's here. That's what we do. We don't just sit down day in. No, we do a little bit trying to find out. Okay? So let me read this to you. Then I'll come back on the other side. It says here, on March 10, 1980, I want you to pay attention. Please, pay attention. Pay attention. The 1980 coup didn't happen because the people wanted money or because the people were so greedy for power. The 1980 coup has been happening long time. It just happened that this group of Liberians decided to give their lives, because if that thing had gone bad that night, they were going to get killed. If people like me were to lick my mouth and go tell somebody, they were all going to get killed. So they knew very well. In fact, after the coup, that's one of the things they always talk about. That will be difficult. Knowing what Liberia is, they used to say it will be difficult for us to come out of this alive. They all knew they were going to die. So it was nothing secret about them being alive. Nothing secret. Okay? But why did these brothers got involved in this? I grew up in, before I read it, let me go a little bit back in my own history. I grew up in Toll Town. It's a true story now. Grand Juda County. Now, Toll Town is a city, is a chiefdom seat of BI chiefdom. Okay? And BI chiefdom have, I think, 3 or 4 clans. In big towns, big villages. So the people go and collect taxes and bring the taxes in Toll Town, where the parliament chief lives. And what I'm about to tell you, I'm sure many of you from the countryside, just like me, have seen this in your own area. If you're unable to pay the 10